Hey, what's up, everybody? Here we are, CM here with the common sense lifestyle and perspective here that I just bring. And I always like to share with you just things that are going on and my thoughts about it here. So, one thing came to mind yesterday when I saw this headline. I was just like, damn, what kind of shit is this, right? So, I thought I'd share that with you guys right now. So, let's just get to it here, alright? So, it's talking about California first time home buyers for migrants, right? The illegal immigrants that have come into California, which is just an extension of what the U.S. has been doing under Biden and Kamala Harris in terms of just having an open border, right? And in the tune of I think 10 million people have crossed the border, 10 million plus have crossed the border. It's unknown how many have actually crossed into California. They never really talk about it. But when you think about it, I know people say all the time that it's not the fault of the migrants. They're just whatever, blah blah blah. I don't give a shit. We don't need them over here. All right, we don't need them over here. They're just dragging down everything here in the United States when it comes to programs, the homeless, the veterans, everything else about it. They're a drain on everything, the resources, everything that we need, they're taking. Right? Think about it. The government has done everything, bend over backwards for them, should bend their knees for illegals in terms of providing them shelter, providing them food, providing them debit cards, providing them everything that it takes to just live in the United States. Man, it makes me want to be illegal, right? And so California is an extension of a progressive government like what Biden and Harris has been doing. And what they've been doing is allowing the illegals to come in, setting up shop, and go from there. Because it's a humanitarian crisis in all these different places of the world, but yet you have Chinese people, you have people from Africa, you have people in other parts of the world coming in through South America, through Mexico, and then into the United States when that's already in itself the route taken already should be a denial at the border, let alone all these other people from these other countries should be a denial at the border entry. So it's already, laws are broken because they're already illegal. It doesn't matter who it is, doesn't matter what country they're from. It's already been broken that it's illegal. I mean, we could talk about so much things. If they're breaking laws in the U.S., common sense should say that, hey, you know what? They should be banished, right? They should be kicked out, sent back, because they need to be taught a lesson that you can't just commit crimes and commit all these different acts and get away with it. But, of course, America's soft, right? This government's soft. They'll just allow anything to happen. Whether it's no cash bail, catch and release. Here, we'll write you a ticket. Come show up. Come into the border. We'll process you and send you on your way to wherever you need to go. Right? I mean, come on. Really? So, enough is enough. People have had enough of this shit. And then this comes up that they're trying to allow immigrants living in the country illegally be eligible up to $150,000 in government-backed home loans. Think about that for a second. For home buyers, assistance, right? What kind of crap is that? Right? As California's close to approving for illegal immigrants to help purchase homes. Think about that. And they'll say statements like, Let's just read this real quick. All right. So lawmakers in California could soon make the Golden State the first in the country to make undocumented immigrants eligible for up to $150,000 in state-supported home loans. The Democratic supermajority in California state legislature is likely to pass a measure this week that would make undocumented immigrants eligible for the California Dream for All loan, provide 20% down payment and assistance up to $150,000. All right, they must be first-time home buyers, and at least one must be a first-generation home buyer, while income levels must be below certain limits depending on the country where the recipient lives, or county. I'm sorry, county. All right. And they said that the border policy has been proven unpopular with voters. All right. So Gavin Newsom, who has been one of Biden's and now Harris' top surrogates in the campaign, have not said whether he will sign the bill into law if it clears legislature before the August 31st deadline. Supposedly it's 50-50. Supposedly. All right. Because, one, the type of person Gavin Newsom is will sign it because he's an idiot. All right, and panders to the illegals, panders to the progressive causes. That's the 50%. The other 50% that he won't sign it is because we're already in a 45, billion plus hole when it comes to budget shortfall, and this will just add to that particular shortfall in the budget. It's irresponsible, being that if he's trying to be so-called president in the 2028 election, it's not going to look good with all this deficit spending that he's doing and trying to figure out where to cutting such things such as law enforcement, defunding the police and doing all this crap. Right? Hey, we'll send money to homeless programs. We'll build a railroad of nowhere, but we'll do shit like cut spending on schools, cut spending on defunding the police, and shit like that. We'll pay illegals. I mean, everything's ass backwards, right? This idiot, and it's funny. They said that he wasn't very vocal, as he was one of the top Biden surrogates and very vocal about Biden, up until when Kamala got picked to be the next nominee for president for the Democrats. He wasn't in that conversation because it was said that he needed to clean up his act because, all this deficit spending that he's been doing and putting California in a hole, it doesn't look good. And of course, you put that on center stage, being that if he was going to be one of the top people to run for president at this time this year, 2024, he's going to be nowhere close because it's already been seeing how bad California is. Because California is a dump right now. As Kevin O'Leary says, he's part of Shark Tank and always does Fox Business News interviews and stuff, says that California's a dumpster fire, and he contributed to that big dumpster fire of California. No way, people would even vote for him as bad as California is right now. So that's the 50-50 that he might sign, he might not sign. All right. But Democratic lawmakers in the state have defended the legislation, arguing that it's simply designed to give undocumented state residents the same benefits afforded to everyone else in the state. Really? You know how much we got to jump through hoops to even put down a down payment for a home? To even if we were to try to go for one of these programs, this so-called program for a first-time home buyer, it's not for us. They're not going to make this for us, right? The closest thing would be the FHA loan program, the FHA program for first-time home buyers, the Federal Home Assistance. Then that's for first-time home buyers, where instead of putting down the traditional 20%, you put down 5%, but you got to add mortgage insurance to that. And then from there, once you hit 20% of paying down your home, and once you hit 20%, that mortgage insurance gets removed. So that's how that worked, because I actually did an FHA loan when I first bought my home, as I qualified as a first-time home buyer to get an FHA loan. There was no way in hell they would approve this program for me if I was to buy a home loan, for the first time, a home, program. Yeah, there's no way they would have done this, because this is simply for illegal immigrants. All right. The closest we could get would be the FHA program. And I'll have to say the FHA program was great, but again, you would have to go through extra hoops. You got to add mortgage insurance. It's not as simple as, oh, we're just going to approve this loan for you, and you'll be fine, in terms of a down payment for the home. No, we still had to put down at least 5%. All right. So that's the difference between us and the illegals with this home purchasing program. All right. It isn't given out willy-nilly to just anybody. Yeah, of course, because this Democratic Assembly maker, Eloise Gomez Reyes, says that, Reyes here, of course, it's not just willy-nilly for anybody. It's for all the illegals. All right. Democratic Assembly maker who authored the bill has argued that it still requires applicants to meet federal requirements, including taxpayer ID or Social Security, to apply for a loan. Doubt it. I doubt it, because how are they going to get a taxpayer ID or a Social Security if they're just barely in the border illegally? How do they even get this stuff if they're illegal in the first place? Right? So that doesn't make sense. The federal law preventing undocumented immigrants from receiving state benefits without specific state law outlining their eligibility is what he says. But it doesn't make sense. They're going to give it to the illegals because that's just what California does. Does a bunch of pandering idiots that need to be voted out. All right? Because all these fools are just giving away our money when we could be applying this money to taking care of ourselves. All right, and that's the problem, and this is just stupid shit that I see. And then you wonder why we're in the mess we're in right now in California, why we're in the mess right now in the United States, because they're doing all this reverse patriotism, reverse racism towards United States citizens in terms of just pandering to everybody else in the world that comes in the border. Like I said, I might as well just be illegal then and then just come in the border, and then that way I could get all that stuff given to me. It just doesn't make sense. But you know what's going to do it? It's going to open up a Pandora's box, because one, okay, let's just say all these illegals are granted assistance to buy a home in California using this down payment, right? If they don't have a steady job, let alone a high-paying job, because cost of living in California, how are they going to pay for the house itself, which it's just going to end up creating 2008 all over again. You guys remember what happened in 2008? Here, let me remind you guys what happened in 2007, 2008. All right. The United States went through a mortgage meltdown, housing crisis meltdown, where all of a sudden the subprime loans that were given by the banks, they weren't be able to get paid because house prices at that time was expensive. for the typical average American, let alone illegals and anybody else that try to buy a home, because they're trying to buy it at these high prices, and at the same time, um, they were issued subprime loans, because usually you would have to go through documents and provide statements that your job is steady and that your income to debt ratio is enough to where you could pay a mortgage, right? But during that time, there wasn't any of that. They just said, without verification, as long as you say, hey, I got a job, I'm looking to buy a home, can you approve me? They'll just approve you and set you up on a subprime loan, right? And it's one of those things where the interest rates starts off tiny, and after like the first, I think it was 5 years of the subprime loan, it shoots, the interest, all that interest that built up kicks in now, which gets added to the mortgage itself, right? Because a lot of times it was interest only, and now here comes the principal, all right? All that built up principal along with interest is now put together, and now you got to really pay, because it catches up after those first 5 years during those days. And guess what happened? The meltdown of the homes across America, and then it was a mortgage meltdown. And so what happened was tons of people couldn't pay for the homes. You had all these foreclosures everywhere, and guess what? The market tanked big time. Which destroyed a lot of other things in the market too, because for example, the banks failed, car companies failed, and if it wasn't for Obama and bailing out these companies would have went under, which they should have done. I personally would have let the companies go under and let it die, because it's just survival of the fittest. You know what I mean? Like, if a company did something and you can't pay the bills because of irresponsible lending, spending, whatever it is, that's on you. You got to pay the consequences. But no, the government bailed them out and they lived another day, right? But imagine if they weren't bailed out, right? We wouldn't be in the mess that we're in, one. And it just created this sort of Pandora's box and kicking the can down the road type of thing, because now we're going through this all over again. All right, so here comes this stupid way of allowing illegals to get approved on this first-time home buyer's loan, in terms of down payment and all that, and then they get to have a home. Okay, how are they going to pay for the home? Because they're illegal. Maybe they'll be lucky to get their little food truck job, right? Or landscaping, or going on farms and doing all that stuff. And I know it sounds like I'm being stereotypical, but that's what they typically do, right? And it's going to get to the point where they're not going to be able to pay for these homes, because the home mortgages, when you think about it, monthly is so damn expensive. So here it is, right here. Here's an example of what this guy said. Median home price in California, $904,000. All right, so let's just say they got maxed out to $150,000, right, on this down payment, and that leaves a $750,000 loan now, or mortgage for the home. Now the mortgage payment is $4,900 a month. So how are they going to pay for that? Right? That's a lot of money. $4,900 a month. Let me tell you how lucky I am. All right, I bought my home 10 years ago. All right, and guess what my mortgage is? You'll never guess. My mortgage is $2,000 a month, which sounds a lot for some people, but at the same time, it's way cheaper than $4,900 a month. So $2,000 a month on a 3.6% monthly interest on the mortgage. And no, I've never refinanced. I'm sticking to the 3.6. All right, I'm good with that. But yeah, so that's where it's at. All right, so this shit is just going to create bigger problems among the many problems we already have in California with homelessness, right? Irresponsible spending, bullshit like the homeless program, which 24 billion was spent, and yet the homeless population has grown. Yeah, the railroad, what do you call it? The high speed rail to nowhere. That money has been spent, you know, hand over feet, fist over fist, and not one track has been laid. Not one track. And what? How long has this thing been going on for? 10 plus years, and not one track's been laid. Right? I mean, the list goes on and on. Oh yeah, we'll give illegals everything that they want. All right, we'll give them debit cards, place to live, and go on, and you're free to live in California. Go ahead. Right? You're free to go. Yeah, tell me about it. But yeah, so it's shit like this. All right, California's a mess, and it is a dumpster fire. Crime is up because of Prop 47, and having illegals added to this mix just causes bigger problems, right? That's why there's an exodus of people leaving California. That's why there's an exodus of businesses either closing or leaving California. And it just keeps getting worse and worse. Crime is up. All right, all this stuff. It just keeps, and homeless keeps going up, and it keeps getting worse and worse and worse. And all Gavin Gruesome does is, oh, let's just throw money more into it and that'll solve the problem. No. Oh, we'll just build more homes because building more homes will get homeless off the streets. No, because why is the homeless population grown still? But anyhow, this is just stupid shit I saw. I wanted to share that with you guys. Let me go know what you guys think. This is bullshit. It's stupid. Alright, this is the dumbest thing among a lot of dumb things that this idiot has done. And he wants to be president? You gotta be out of your mind if you ever want to vote for this guy for president in the future. Even Kamala, you gotta be an idiot to vote for her. Because they're all in the same cloth and cut from Biden. Alright? So I'm just saying, if you want to vote for that, that's on you. Alright, and then you get what you ask for. But yeah, so comment down below, let me know what you think. It's just stupid shit you see all the time. I got more to come. I'll see you in the next one.